The brackets are set. The matchups are here. And it's time to get ready for the 2022 FIFA World Cup, baby. Welcome in to World Cup Talk here on ESPN Radio. Christian Gokel alongside PJ Zuko. Let's just go ahead and kick this bad boy up there, PJ. Boom. There it is.
Here we go.
The World Cup draw taking place a little while ago there in Qatar.
Nothing better than having 6 people in your group. Let's go.
Wait, what? I guess there's still. Oh, we got. Spoiler alert.
6 people in. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, welcome into
You threw it up, man.
Welcome into World Cup Talk here on ESPN Radio. I always told you guys we're a football show.
It's true.
Never really specified which one.
Don't need to
at all. There's a few things I want to dive into here. Number one, we're going to talk about the U.S. group, which is, I think, very reasonable. A couple of cool matchups in there. Potential for another cool one as well. And then I want to get into the decision-making that went into playing this bad boy in November.
Yes.
Because that's going to be fascinating. So, again, it's in Qatar. I believe they are 8 hours ahead of us. So you could be looking at some 5 a.m. watch parties.
Can't wait.
In the East Coast. I mean, it's 2 a.m.
Crack a
for
cold
those
one.
California soccer fans.
Yeah, crack a cold one open at 5 a.m. on a weekday.
Like a cold brew?
Yeah. What else would I mean?
Wait, but which kind of brew are we talking about? Like a Starbucks cold brew or like a cold brew?
Yeah, I don't.
Either or?
Yeah, sure.
Either or? All right.
To each his own.
So, that being said,
dealer's choice.
The U.S. Is selected into Group B with England, Iran, and then the winner of a playoff between Wales, Scotland, and Ukraine.
Yes. Very, very interesting when it comes to that. I think
very favorable group.
I would agree with that as well. I think you look at the group, I think, honestly, England, USA is somewhat of a toss-up. Like, I don't think it's – I think England will be favored, but I don't think it's insurmountable to think that we could come out with a point or even a win in that game. And then you have Iran, which
it wasn't insurmountable 250 years ago. I know that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It wasn't insurmountable for us. I'll tell you that. You might want to talk to them about how that went, but might also have a bit of a, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. So then you have Iran. Don't want to overlook Iran by any means, but I think we can overlook Iran. Favored in that game as well. I think we
can overlook Iran.
And then, of course, you want,
you know, like the Kirby Smart thing where you're like, listen, Vanderbilt, they got a hell of a punter. Might have the best long snapper I've ever seen.
Field position is going to be extremely important.
Yeah, you can't overlook Iran. I think we can overlook Iran.
Okay, well, there you go. And then you have Wales, Scotland, and Ukraine.
Okay, so Wales is not going to win. It's going to come down to Scotland and Ukraine.
Yeah.
And Ukraine's have a historically really good team. I don't know. Again, this is in November. I don't know what it's looked like for them throughout these past couple of months, obviously with everything that's happening in the world. But also Scotland is really good.
I think didn't Scotland make a run in the last one?
They made some noise. I'll say that. I don't know if they made a run, but they made some noise.
They made a run for them.
No, making a run means you take down a couple of teams.
Sure.
Like if you're making a run, like St. Peter's made a run.
Did Scotland make it out of the group stage?
I think Scotland made some noise. I do not think they made it out of the group.
Okay, well there you go. Then that's my bad. I thought they did.
BJ,
I thought
answer
they made
this.
it.
If you don't make it out of the
16.
group stage, can you have made, quote, a run?
Well, I was also wrong in my assumption and my question.
You can make some noise.
I mean, I would
inside
agree
the
with
group, but you can't make a run if you don't actually make it out of the group.
Did Scotland make it to the round of 16 last year? Last World Cup.
I thought you were our soccer expert, BJ. Oh, my God.
I mean, what is this? If they didn't, I don't think they did either, actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, in which, like you said, they did only make some noise then. I think if they made it to the round of 16, they made a run because for them, that's big. That's just like, I mean, for America, that's for the U.S., that's pretty big. So
it was very big.
I would call us making it out of the round of 16, maybe possibly winning a game there. That would be making a run for the U.S.
hold on. I'm trying to find the round of 16, but of course,
Yeah, I'm trying to
none of this is
kind
easy.
of openly defined make a run now for the people in my mind. You know, like it's different expectations for different teams. Portugal, you're talking about making it to the final. That's probably making it a run for Portugal. Anything, less than the round of 8 is disappointment.
PJ, I have bad news.
Was Scotland even in the last
I
World
don't
Cup?
think they were.
What am I thinking of? Maybe it was the
Euros.
Euros. Maybe
Don't,
I get confused
don't try to
with
make
that
this
quite
better.
a bit. I do get confused with those quite a bit because the Euros have all the notable, like 9 times out of 10, all the insanely notable soccer teams in them.
Yeah, Scotland
obviously.
did not make the last World Cup.
Okay,
But
well,
hey,
there
but
you
hell,
go.
they made a run
They made a run in the Euros
away from the World Cup. But that being said,
at some point.
that's not what I want to talk about, though. The U.S.
Well, that's fine.
The U.S. has a really good chance of advancing. And then theoretically, so if you finish in second place, you'd play the winner of Group A, and that more likely than not is going to be Netherlands. And I don't think that's unovercomable. So I think the U.S. might have a chance to make it to the quarterfinals here. Probably not making it much further than that, but still enough to keep you interested. Here's what has me interested. I always like the business side of it when it comes to broadcasting. So Fox has the rights to the World Cup for this one, and they were basically gifted 2026 from reports because of the bleep show that this one is. So because of the weather in Qatar, it would have been inhospitable to play this during the summer when the World Cup is typically played. So they've kicked this back to late November, early December. You're like, all right, fine, whatever. It's an international sporting event. That's fine for every country but one.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere else in the World Cup is king. In the U.S., the NFL is king. And to a slightly lesser extent, NCAA football is king. And I would say both of those would reign supreme over the World Cup, as much as we love the World Cup. So
sad but true.
I don't know if it's sad. It's just,
It is what it is.
Like PJ,
Yeah.
I tell you, you can watch a semifinals matchup between Germany and Brazil, or you can watch the Iron Bowl. Which one are you watching?
I mean, probably the Iron Bowl.
Yeah. And so it's NFL, college football, and then whatever other sport. Baseball should be over by then. We'll be in the beginning of basketball season, all kinds of stuff. But that being said, Fox has the rights to the World Cup. So what does that mean? Well, now on top of trying to broadcast college football, trying to broadcast NFL games, they're going to have to figure out how to broadcast the World Cup.
Yeah.
In the biggest television market in terms of leading the world in broadcasting, leading the world in television creation, and leading the world in how you do things, this is like without a doubt going to play second fiddle to the NFL, even for Fox. Like, the viewing numbers are going to be better for Fox in terms of the NFL than they are for the World Cup. So I find it interesting how they're going to do this. So I'm going to take a look at the schedule real quick with the World Cup. So in the group stages, you basically have 4 games a day throughout the group stages, and they're going to be at 6 a.m. Eastern time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, and 3 p.m. Eastern time. Right? So there's going to be a Sunday, November 27th, where you have a World Cup game at 3 p.m. So how do they do that? More likely than not, they kick it over to Fox Sports 1. So you're trying to broadcast on Fox. You're gonna have your regular NFL game there into the first set of the 1 p.m. games on Fox, and then on Fox Sports 1 at 3 p.m. you'll have one of the games from the opening rounds of the World Cup, right? Fine. I get it. It kind of sucks that you're pushing aside the biggest sporting event in the world to your secondary channel, but it is what it is. I get it, right?
That's kind of wild at the same time. Like when you really think about it, I know it's not the end of the world. Things like this have happened before, but Qatar time, that's 10 o'clock.
At
Like,
night, yeah.
Yeah, like right now it's 9:13.
And they're not overly worried about the people that are there, because like if you're in Qatar to watch the World Cup, you don't care if the game starts at 10 p.m. or not. Like, and you're probably
Oh,
flying in
I
from
don't care
different
about
time
that
zones.
either. I
But
care
like,
about the players.
but what?
Yeah.
No, and I don't think it'll inherently bother the players either. All they're concerned about is 10 p.m. Qatar time is probably what 8 p.m. for the biggest cities in Europe. The TV markets that they're actually going
Yeah,
after.
that would be 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah, so like they're going after prime time in the biggest TV market. So I don't think the players, because you do get days off in between this. I don't know that 10 p.m. is really going to bother those guys that much.
I think it depends on how long you're there, how long it takes your body to get used to it's fine. I'm probably diving too much into it.
But here's what I want to get into. I want to get into the first week of the World Cup. So the first games you'll see are Qatar versus Ecuador, because the team who host gets the first game. Senegal, Netherlands, England versus Iran, and the United States against Wales or Scotland. So that's Monday the 21st, right? The next time you see the U.S. play will be Friday, November 25th. Why is that significant? It is the Friday after Thanksgiving. So the U.S. will be playing England the Friday after Thanksgiving on the same day as, let's see here, Florida State, Florida.
Wow. They're playing that one on Friday.
UCLA, Cal, Oregon State, Nebraska, Iowa, NC State, North Carolina. Like, you have all kinds of college football going off the day before Thanksgiving. So you have the Egg Bowl plus the full NFL slate on that Thursday. Oh, also, let's see, Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon, Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, South Carolina. Like, that is a huge slate.
Uruguay, what?
South Carolina, South Korea.
That's amazing.
Spencer Rattler versus Uruguay. Here we go. Shane Beamer said he's all about recruiting all over the place. He's taking it to the World Cup. That is wonderful.
Sorry.
No, but and then the very next day, Saturday, November 26th, Fox Sports is going to have Argentina, Mexico, Poland, Saudi Arabia, France, Denmark, Tunisia. Tunisia probably against Australia, if I had to guess, because they still have some plans to get to. So that's on the 26th there. You know what else is on the 26th, PJ? Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah, something like
a
that.
little something called the Iron Bowl.
I've heard of that before, I think.
This has to be, I'm trying to find it because they don't have any of the rankings there, so I have to kind of scroll down. That has to be Ohio State, Michigan week 2, right?
Oh, yeah. That's the game. So
where did they play last year? Did they play in?
They played in Michigan.
So this was at Ohio State. I don't know why I can't find this. There it is. Yeah, Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah, definitely going to be at noon, as always. So,
but how do you do that with the World Cup? So, like, which one do you put on Fox Sports 1? Which one are you putting on Fox? Like, last year, the game was the most viewed college football game in the regular season.
It was, and I get it's the World Cup, like you said. Every other country, but America, it's the biggest thing. At the same time, if you're in America and you have the game, or I don't know, one of those. It's also the group stages. So, like, there are some of those games that are going to be 4-0 matchups. So
yeah, but there's also going to be college football games that are 28-0. So
yeah, of course. But at the same time, you want to. It's about ratings, right? And you want to be able to get as many.
Well, I know. Okay, so I guess the point I'm trying to get to is, if you're FIFA and this is your premier event, this is like them putting the college football playoff on FS1.
Yeah,
like this is their once every 4-year premier event. And your company that you're working with in North America is pushing it off to their secondary channels. Like, how do you let that happen outside of just like somebody's getting their pockets lined like stupid by Fox?
Right. Well, yeah, no, that's the only way this has happened in the first place. Like, let's be real. Like, that's the only way. I don't know, man. Like that's the only way it's happening in Qatar in the first place. Like there's a reason it's there, and you're having to make all of these changes to be able to accommodate. Let me tell you this:
if you don't follow international soccer and you think some of the things that happen inside of American sports are corrupt,
oh yeah, for sure,
brother.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about something. But again, I'm really excited for this. It's gonna be rough. Because basically, you're going to stay up watching these unbelievable college football games on a Saturday, and then 5 a.m., 6 a.m. on Sunday, you're going to be up watching the World Cup, watching those matchups going into NFL Sundays, flipping back and forth to other World Cup matches that are going on. Like, that's why traditionally I love when the World Cup is during the summer, because it's just, for a sports fan, it's just euphoria. You have kind of a little bit of a break from February until about now. And then you really start to ramp things up with baseball. You have the NFL draft coming up. And then once that starts, you have baseball kickoff. And then when you get to the summer, I got the World Cup.
Yeah.
And so you have a full summer of entertainment before you get to football season. Now it's just going to be start of basketball season, the most important parts of football season. Oh, and by the way, the World Cup.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to talk to me for like 3 months.
Absolutely. Like you said, that's part of the reason why I love it in the summer so much too, is like I completely fall into soccer mode when it's the World Cup. Like
According to the editor on
know,
YouTube, he says the fact that you call it soccer means the whole world wants you to lose every game.
that's fine. The fact that I mean that's not news. I guess to
the editor, if you would go back, check back to the beginning of the show. I said we are a football show. I didn't say which one. So PJ's the one over here calling.
I don't know, man. It's sure, whatever. But let's be real. Like, a lot of people in the United States call it soccer. And
the editor, who's your team, by the way? I'm curious.
And a lot of people not in the U.S. want U.S. to lose at everything. So, I mean, that's completely
see. I think that might be United States narcissism there a little bit.
Probably.
That's like,
I don't
think anybody.
I just got told that because I call a sport one thing, everyone wants to see my team lose every game. That's fine. I can be a little narcissistic responding to that.
That's true. But I do think American narcissism is like, everybody wants us to lose. Like, I don't know if anybody on the international stage actually cares about us, you know?
Oh, in soccer? Yeah. Heck no.
Well, in football.
You know, in a lot of things.
In football.
I don't know. I think let's, like I said, with the expectations of us.
Moving on from vernacular, which one of these, because there has to be one, which one's the group of death? It surely is not Group A. I can tell you that. It surely is not Group B. I would hear arguments for Group C because you have Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Robert Lewandowski might be the best player in the world. For Poland, Argentina is always amazing.
Yeah.
I think it might be, to me, though, I'd say E, Spain.
That's,
Germany, Japan, and more likely than not, Costa Rica.
Right. Who
just beat the U.S. 2-0.
Exactly.
Or 2-0, excuse me.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I'd say most of the other groups have two teams that are really solid, and then you have some fringe other ones. I think Group E is a bit of a struggle, where you have Spain and Germany. Japan is always a tough out, and then you have definitely Costa Rica. Like, if it's not Costa Rica, it'd be insane. But most likely Costa Rica in there as well, which is an incredibly solid CONCACAF team. So, is Costa Rica going to put out Spain or Germany or Japan? I don't think so. But at the same time, they're certainly going to make life hard on them.
So are they the group of death? I need a declaration. Hurry.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah,
group
I would say that.
Group of death?
Yeah,
all right,
I
Group
think you
E.
have four really solid teams.
Yeah, Group E, Group of death. Love to hear it. So here's the thing. Everybody that's watching on the social media feeds right now and are here just because of the World Cup reaction thing, you should stick around because we're going to keep talking football. It's just going to be a little bit different kind of football for everybody listening over the airwaves. I appreciate you dealing with this. This is the more likely than not the last time we'll be talking men's national team soccer until we get closer to the World Cup. So thank you for putting up with our weirdness for about 20 minutes. For those of you hanging out on the internet, I appreciate it. You should stick around. We're going to talk about a little something called college football. And when we come back, and no, it's not like Oxford versus Cambridge. Even though we do have.
Wouldn't that be university football?
They're still a college though, right?
Yeah, but they call it university.
Or an institution.
I'm just trying to get my dialect correct.
It's the University of Georgia. We don't call it university football here.
I'm trying to get my vernacular
PJ's just shook since this guy told him not to call it soccer. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with more on Second Down right here on ESPN Radio. Second down on ESPN Radio. PJ Zuko's second bad take of the day. Third bad take of the day.
I don't think I've had any.
I think you've had 2 so far.
I think I've had 1.5. Okay.
Okay, well, it started with Scotland making a run back in the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Only problem there is Scotland didn't make it to the 2018 FIFA World Cup.
Like I told you, all right, they made a run in something.
Second bad take, according to commenters, is calling
I don't
soccer
care.
soccer.
Yeah, I don't care. You called it soccer too. That's fine.
I just called it soccer right there.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Third bad take, I just played the Keith Whitley Miami, which is a great classic 90s country song.
I honestly just thought he said Miami twice.
No, it's Miami.
There you go.
That you see that wordplay right there? That's elite level stuff.
Does Kevin ever sing that?
From Keith Whitley. No, okay, so I want to do the challenge next week with Kevin where I play like 2 seconds of a 90s country song.
Yeah.
And have him identify it because it's unbelievable. It'll be a terrible segment for our podcast / internet listeners because we can't use any of the music there. But for the radio folks, you're in for a treat because Kevin, unbelievable. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Can we use it if we only use 2 seconds? I don't know. Probably not.
Maybe.
Who knows? But that being said,
there's a lot of like YouTubers who are like, I can't use clips of this, and then they use like a half-second clip.
But you can't monetize it. It changes like every week. Like on YouTube, it used to be if you posted a video at a football game and there was copyrighted music in the background, like they're just playing over the speakers, YouTube would like delete your account. Like you can't use that. Sorry, account's gone, suspended forever. Then it became like your video's muted for this, and now we've just gotten to the money, which is the person who owns this music has said you can use this, but you can't monetize this video, and they're going to put ads inside your video. So it changes every week.
Yeah.
But point being, the Keith Whitley Miami song is making a strong comeback because of TikTok. Here's what I'm curious about. Why out of Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of the other social medias, has TikTok become the hill that people die on where they're just like, I don't use that.
Okay. All right.
I don't use that.
See, that's the thing is like, don't lump me in with that. I don't use a lot of apps, man. And I have Snapchat. I barely check it. I really only tweet things to get
here's
my
what
word
I
of
said.
success.
Here's what I said.
There.
As we were coming back, I was playing that song, which is one of the most popular songs on TikTok right now. And I was like, oh, a little TikTok for us coming back on a Friday. And you go, I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know because I don't really use it.
But you said it, sassy.
You're right. I'm not going to sit here and lie to the people.
Yeah, you said I wouldn't know. You're better than me because you don't use TikTok.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It might be true.
What the funny thing is like I have a TikTok and everything, but it's really, I have my friends scour through bad TikTok videos and send me the good ones.
No, what's interesting is everybody's TikToks are so different. Like, if you get on one of your friends' TikToks and it's just a bunch of scantily clad ladies for every single one, then you know what your friend spends the most time looking at via his algorithm. If you get on mine, it's pretty terrible. It's mostly like dogs, Elden Ring videos, and sports.
Yeah, understandable. All those things are very good.
Yeah, so like it basically tells you what this person spends the most time looking at.
Yeah.
And so it creates your own algorithm for you. And I love TikTok. I love when just like random people walk through our studio. Like that guy.
Yeah, it's always great.
Who is that guy?
I don't know, but you know.
Based on his shoes, he makes a mean burger on a grill.
Absolutely. No, I want to go to his house for whenever the World Cup comes on and I can watch some soccer.
Okay, why are you trying to make people mad?
No. So I don't have a problem with TikTok mainly because when I was in college, Vine was huge and Vine was hilarious.
TikTok is the more well-rounded, I should say, less kind of volatile, but which can be good for Vines because you're just like, why is this funny?
Yeah.
And it looks like it was filmed on a Nokia.
Right.
Yes, but
that was kind of the age then, though. At the same time.
All right.
But okay.
No, go on. Finish your thought.
No, I was just gonna say that like me not being on TikTok a lot is mainly a self-policing thing for myself so that I don't sit there and spend 45 minutes on
True.
TikTok when I thought it was 5.
I'm
Like,
just gonna
because I
spend the
did
break.
that on Vine.
I'm gonna spend the break showing PJ Miami TikToks. But let's talk some college football here.
Please don't.
I'm looking, PJ, and last year there were some teams that I think were close, and there were some coaching changes with some of those teams, but a lot of the decision makers at those universities decided just to stick with their coach because yeah, the record maybe doesn't indicate it, but you're in the right direction. I think Mike Norvell, right, which Florida State might just like not be able to afford to move on from him, but I do think based on his recruiting, what we're hearing from a lot of the players that are heading there now, and just fans around Florida State, Mike Norvell seems like he got through the muck of the first season and now is headed in the opposite direction. I don't know what it's looking like for a guy like Brian Harsin, who finished the season as terribly as they did. And then you had like half of the decision makers at Auburn try to fire him this past offseason. And then you have guys like Scott Frost, who everybody in the world thought was gone. But then you go back and look at some of those games, and you're a score away from being a completely different team. So the decision makers there decide to stick with a lot of those guys. And then, of course, like we do every year, you have a plethora of first-year coaches. Billy Napier's at Florida, Brian Kelly's at LSU, Clay Helton, of course, taking over at Georgia Southern here locally. And then a guy really kind of an historic hire, Marcus Freeman, just goes from defensive coordinator at Cincinnati, defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, boom, head coach at Notre Dame when Brian Kelly leaves to take that LSU job. And Notre Dame is a team that I think it should always be in contention with the way their schedule sets up to be in the college football playoff. So with all that being said, who are some teams that you think could potentially surprise us coming up in 2022? Some teams that you're excited to see because you think they're going to be good.
Oh,
he's just like, well, there's this team in Happy Valley.
Oh, no, not necessarily. I mean, oh God, don't get me started on them. I don't know. Just, I think a team that could keep its success that maybe a lot of people like this team kind of jumps up every year or two and then goes away for another 4 or 5 is possibly Michigan State. You know, I think they have some staying power when it comes to, you know, how they've been built and whatnot. But I am very much with you look at what you're looking at there. I very much am looking forward to what Marcus Freeman can do there at Notre Dame and how he can lead that program. I think I've been very on the record also about Tennessee and their possibility of surprising some people if their radar isn't on them already. So there's a few there. I'm very much looking forward to. I think this is more than a 1-year rebuild and turnaround. I am kind of interested, and this might people might roll their eyes at this. I'm kind of interested to see what happens with USC. With Caleb Williams, you have Lincoln Riley, what did he really do at Oklahoma? Did he really further the success there? Not necessarily. I think if he did, you know, you'd see him most likely still there in Oklahoma. But there is like a polarization of that job and the people that have gone there that I'm like, I'm kind of side-eyeing it. And we'll see. Like, yeah, college football is better when certain teams are better. I love to hate USC.
I think Lincoln Riley is going to do really well at USC. Like, and I think you need a coach like that at USC. Nothing against Clay Helton. I just think you need that Pete Carroll type of coach there where you're in Hollywood. You have to be able to attract the fan base and distract them from the 1,000 other things that Los Angeles life has to offer and just get the city and the country excited because the Pac-12 is an afterthought right now in college football. But this year, I don't think so. You can go get a guy like Caleb Williams. You need people to block for him. And on the flip side, you need dudes who can eat people up front. Like, what did Alabama and Georgia show you this past year? It's cool to have really good quarterbacks. It's cool to have all that kind of stuff, right? But in the reality, football, I say this all the time, is a really simple sport, right? And not the European kind, the American kind. Football is a really simple sport. If my 5 guys on offense can just demolish your 4 guys on defense, and on the flip side, my 4 guys on defense can eat you up, your front 5, I'm going to win 90% of the games I play. And right now, USC, does getting Caleb Williams maybe get them 2-3 more wins? Probably. and Lincoln Riley out there, but is it going to make them a contender immediately? No. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not going to, you're not looking at an 11, 12 win team, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's going to be a longer rebuild, but I am excited to see what kind of difference it makes right off the bat.
Yeah. I'm excited, and I don't know if enough people are talking about this. It's the winningest coach in college football right now, Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
At LSU, excuse me. He comes in, he makes some cringy videos where he's kind of like grinding on some players, and then they commit to another school. But we're getting past that.
Trying to.
He's doing really well in the transfer portal. Like the one everyone talks about is Eli Ricks leaving LSU to go to Alabama, which I get. Alabama's Mr. Steal Your Player. But they go get Jaden Daniels, the quarterback from Arizona State. And I think he's going to be a guy who's going to push really early to play. They go get Colby Fields, a linebacker from South Carolina, former 3-star, but a guy who a lot of people are excited about. To replace the 5-star they lost, they go get Jarek Bernard, who, if you don't remember, he was one of the key cogs for that Oklahoma State defense last year that really led the Cowboys to a kind of a late season surge where, you're playing in really significant games, playing in conference championship games at the end of the season, upsetting Oklahoma at the end of the season. He's at LSU now. They go get Mekhi Wingo, who's a really good defensive lineman from Missouri, and just a bunch of other guys that they've added. I think LSU, year one under Brian Kelly, realistically to me, they're the second best team in the SEC West.
Yeah.
Like, I think Texas A&M, and maybe they're just in perpetuity going to be this team. I think Texas A&M is the team that's striving for second best, but they're a year ahead right now, a year away. Because you see that number 1 overall class, that's fine. They're all freshmen right now. And that's a sick defensive line unit you have. I hope you can keep them together, because having 5, 6, 5-stars on the defensive line, I think you might see some guys after a year kind of reading the writing on the wall, decide to head elsewhere. And I think very soon, Levius Overton out of Milton, Georgia, reclassified to the class of 2022, 5-star defensive lineman. He's supposed to be committing, and I think he's down. It's Texas A&M is the odds-on favorite, but Georgia's up there as well. I don't know. I'll try to get you an update on that. But I think LSU, under Brian Kelly, who, say what you will about him, is a winning football coach. I think LSU is the second best team in the West.
Yeah.
And if it can come down to an LSU Alabama game where, kind of like last year for Texas A&M, they have the one-off. It's like, if I can get you here, if I can win that football game, I think LSU has a chance to make some noise next year. Do I think they have a chance to make a Scotland-like run? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, no, I would agree with that. And I honestly forgot about all the other big transfers in there that you mentioned, especially the one from Oklahoma State, which, like you said, they were a defensive-led team last year, and to get one of their best players from that defense is certainly a feather in the cap. Now you have to gel that team. Like, you have to have the chemistry all come together, kind of like you saw with a Michigan State last year. But if you can have that happen, then that's huge. I think the biggest one with LSU, the question always is the quarterback position, right? And Jaden Daniels, he's more than just a highlight play, I feel like. And he's been growing into that. He has the body.
But even if he doesn't work out right, you have a Miles Brennan on the team.
You do.
Who's been your quarterback before?
He has been. I don't have a lot of faith in Miles Brennan just because I haven't seen him enough.
Yeah.
I've heard about him plenty.
Oh, and they got a little fella named Noah Kane too, by the way.
Well, that's I was gonna go there at some point, and hopefully, honestly, for him, that's not a bitter thing for me. I hope to see him right again, because he was incredible as a freshman. Then he got hurt, and last year he did not look like himself. So I hope somehow when he gets in that LSU offense, honestly, I'm hoping for success for Noah Kane. And if he can get back to where he was a freshman, holy cow, that backfield is going to be insanely good. Because he's got the body type to just push anybody around that tries to tackle him. He also can break out some speed as well. So, no, I think that's a very good point, especially with the question marks. Like, honestly, going into the season, I'm more confident in LSU's quarterback room than I am Texas A&M's.
Well, and they might have the best receiver in college football in Kayshon Boutte, who has just been stat-wise unbelievable. his first couple years there in Baton Rouge. So I think it's a team to watch for me, especially with Brian Kelly as their head coach. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with more. This is Second Down on ESPN Radio. All right, so we were talking about this in the break. Fox Sports likes to use their broadcasters on pretty much everything, right? Joe Buck does NFL, or he used to be Fox Sport. Did NFL, did college, would not college football, why am I blanking? The World Series, right?
There you go.
Use them on everything. Gus Johnson on everything. Oh, I'm gonna go from doing college football to the Women's World Cup, right? They have announcers that announced weren't really catered towards the sport they do, whereas ESPN tries to use as much as possible people that have a professional background in whatever sport they're broadcasting. But my dream now is like the broadcasters somewhere, or like CBS somehow earns the rights to the World Cup in the future. Like Fox is like, I don't want to deal with this. I can't handle it. You guys got to take over. And CBS goes this route too, because God, I need Gary Danielson on a soccer call.
Can we bring? Oh man, now I'm blanking on his name.
No, I need Vern.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
can
go. Yeah,
bring
God,
Vern
yeah, we
back
got to bring Vern Lundquist back.
just for, you know.
Yeah, and as long as Vern Lundquist does the Vern Lundquist special, which look, I don't want to sound like Vern Lundquist slander. He's my favorite ever, but he has to look at the number of a player and call him the name of the player that wore that number like 2 decades ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Even though it was like, Vern, you weren't even watching soccer back
Like
then.
Pulisic is 10.
Yeah,
It's like Landon Donovan.
He has
it's
to
like,
call
yeah,
Landon
it's Landon Donovan.
So true.
Going back to Adam Zucker in the studio
Yeah.
for updates from other World Cup matches. Oh
my gosh.
Is there
awesome.
another brand that would be funnier? Like if like ESPN got it, but all the soccer analysts got stuck in traffic, and so like so Kirk Herbstreit's having to call
with like Chris Berman.
Oh my God.
Oh, that'd be great.
I mean, is there another one that's funnier?
Oh man,
because Fox already does this, which is why they seem so cringy on the broadcast.
Yeah, no, for sure. And NBC just does such a stellar job with their.
Oh God, yeah, NBC like Mike
well.
Tirico would just like. You'd be like, yeah, this is perfect. This is beautiful. I love every part of this.
I mean, Al Michaels is perfect at everything he does.
Al Michaels
as well.
is Amazon now, so he's off the market.
Holy cow, my fault. Did they ever announce who's
going to be alongside him? I don't know.
With Chris Collins.
I don't think. I think it's going to be Tirico.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you're replacing one goat for another one.
Yeah, I think that's a natural move up there. But we're talking about soccer, all right? And I think even Tirico Collinsworth could do a pretty good soccer game.
But like, okay, so CBS is the funniest, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Then again, like,
and then they have to like dip into their golf crowd to get, or their golf crew to get some people over there.
It would be somewhat funny to hear like Chris Collinsworth talking about like Cristiano Ronaldo and be like, now here's a guy.
Yep, there it is.
He goes from Manchester United.
I thought now here's a guy was John Madden.
See, I think you have the slide in with Collinsworth, and I feel like Collinsworth says, "Here's a guy a ton."
Oh my God, no, it has to be. It has to be CBS. Tony Romo.
Oh no! Can you imagine him trying to call plays,
like predict
pieces?
Things that are coming before it? Yeah.
Dude,
he's like, "Oh, they're about to run a whiplash 320 here."
I know you
about
guys,
19 yards out.
I know some of you guys respect it. I'm someone that can't stand when he guesses like what's going to happen next, because like I don't want to hear that.
But see, I do that when I broadcast high school. I'm not trying to say I'm Tony Romo, but it's like when you have like, so say you have a star wide receiver who's like a 4-star, been offered by everyone in the country, and they line up under center. He's out by himself, and you just have another kid out there guarding him one-on-one. And I say, you have so-and-so up top by himself. Could be a shot here. Could be a shot here.
That's a lot different to me. And even if you get it right, like that's still gratifying and obviously shows what.
So what do you not like about what Tony Romo does?
It's one, the frequency, and two, him like literally calling plays. Like there's a difference between this matchup is very favorable here. Let's see if they go there. And him being like, oh, this is the technique they're doing right now, and this is how the offense is lining up. Oh, they're going to do a blankety blank power pull-out to the right. And then boom, it happens. And he's like, hey, that's exactly what I call.
So PJ's just saying, spoiler alert, I don't need this. Let me watch the game.
Let me watch the game, please. And he does it every play.
Well,
like it could be a difference.
I, for one, am here once for a quarter. Hearing Tony Romo do Serbia, Morocco.
Please try and predict a set piece.
No, Serbia, Morocco, front with Tony Romo on the call. It got to make it happen. CBS has to get the rights to the World Cup here. Fox has it through 2026, 2030. CBS broadcast. It's got to happen. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and get you ready for 3 and Out next. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. Christian Gokel alongside PJ Zuko. Just you would have a great CBS studio name. Let's throw it back to PJ Zuko in the studio. I mean, that's like right there with Adam Zucker. Maybe it's the Z. I don't know. PJ, what do we have coming up on the radio
Something
this
like
weekend?
Just some stuff. I don't things.
Thanks, Rich.
Brave spring training both days, Saturday and Sunday, there in the afternoon, and then Saturday afternoon into evening, starting at about 4:15. We have something called the Final Four.
Something about that
pregame coverage.
I don't know. Real quick, who you got?
Games.
Who's going to the championship?
Probably Villanova, and it's probably Duke. As much as I don't like it, probably Villanova.
I'm gonna say
Duke.
Kansas Duke. I think I've officially decided that I'm not rooting for North Carolina after what Eric Church did. Sorry, Robbie Ross. Love you, buddy. But I'm pulling for Coach K and the Dukies. 3 and Out coming up next right here on ESPN Radio.